Good morning, dear students. Welcome to the English session with Tanuja Agrawal. So students, now I am going to explain a new poem of your syllabus, Break, 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 composed by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Students, Alfred Lord Tennyson is one of the most popular poets in English literature. So in this poem, students, the poet is just expressing his grief, his agony of his heart over the death of his dear friend Arthur Helen. Basically, the poem deals with the same thing. Agony of poet's heart means that poet is too much in pain. He is feeling painful inside the heart. He is feeling painful inside his mind because he lost his friend Arthur Helen. So the name of the poet's friend is Arthur Helen. Now, to express his grief, the poet is presenting youthful images. He is just describing in this poem that all over that around him, all the people are happy, but I am not happy because I am suffering from the pain. Because the poet is suffering from the pain at the death of his dear friend Arthur Helen. And at the last of the poem, he is just that recalling the memories of past, the days he has spent with his dear friend Arthur Helen. At the last, the poet describes all those things. So now, let's start the explanation of the poem.
Let's start it. Break, Break, Break by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Firstly, I recite the lines for you. Break, break, break on thy cold grey stones, O sea, and I would that my tongue could utter the thoughts that arise in me. So, thy means your, grey means grey color, utter means speak. So students, in these lines, the poet is addressing the waves of the sea, telling them to crash against the rocky shore again and again. Watching all this happen, the poet wishes to express his grief. Now what kind of grief the poet is talking about? The grief of the death of his dear friend Arthur Helen. The poet is not happy. And why the poet is not happy? Because he is missing his dear friend Arthur Helen, who is no more. He wants to describe through these lines his mental state, which is not in a peaceful mode. He is expressing his mental anxiety, his grief, his agony over the death of his dear friend. I hope these lines are clear for you. Now the second stanza. Oh, well for the fisherman's boy that he shouts with his sister at play. Oh, well for the sailor lad that he sings in his boat on the bay. Through these lines, the poet is presenting the beautiful images of youth. He is saying that he is watching the fisherman's son who is shouting while playing with his sister, as well as a young sailor who is singing a song while sailing through the sea. All these people are happy. That fisherman's boy, his sister, sailor lad, all these are happy instead of the poet. Poet is not happy. And why the poet is not happy? Because he lost his dear friend Arthur Helen. So now, third stanza. And the stately ships go on to their heaven under the hill. But oh, for the touch of a vanished hand and the sound of a voice that is still. Now, stately means graceful. Heaven, Heaven, Heaven. Vanished, disappear. Now, in these lines, the poet is saying that there are also impressive boats sailing in a graceful way through the sea, and the poet envisions them passing into somewhat heavenly destination. It means the ships are moving towards its destination in a graceful manner. He is describing through these lines, the poet is also describing the beauty of nature, but the poet is not happy. But these images, these things are not distracting the poet because he is not happy. He is suffering from the pain of his heart and the pain of his mind. And why he is suffering from the pain? Because he lost his dear friend Arthur Helen. So the poet is saying that these ships don't distract the speaker don't distract the poet from the memory of touching the hand of his dear friend who is no longer exist. Means to say that these things are not distracting the poet. The poet is still missing the touch of his hand, the touch of the hand of his friend Arthur Helen, and he is also missing the sound, the voice of his friend, which is now silent. So in these two lines, the poet has used paradox that I will discuss afterwards. I hope this is clear for you. So now this is the fourth stanza. Break, break, break at the foot of thy crags, O sea, but the tender grace of a day that is dead will never come back to me. Tender means soft. So again the poet is using these three words, break, 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 which is describing poets' suffering, poets that pain of heart as well as of mind, because he is not happy. The poet is saying, the poet calls out to the waves as they smash against cliffs along the shore line again and again. He is feeling that the happiness of the previous day will never return. The poet is saying that the tender grace, the soft grace of a day which is now dead will not come back to the poet. What the tender grace the poet is talking about? The poet is talking about the day which were happy when he was with his friend. Now he lost his friend Arthur Hallam. That's why he is missing those days. And he is saying that those days, those happiness will never come to the poet. So I think students, all these four stanzas are clear for you.
So students, I hope you have understood the explanation of the poem. Now I am discussing the poetic device the poet has used to make his description very beautiful. So first I am discussing that paradox, where the poet has used this poetic device. Now let's understand what is paradox. Paradox means when two opposite things are used in a same sentence. Two opposite ideas or things. Opposite ideas in a sentence. If you have the book, it is also mentioned in the book also behind the poem. So what is paradox? When two opposite ideas are used in a sentence. For example I am giving, the silence is deafening. The silence is deafening. Now silence also I am using here, and deafening means loud sound. Deafening means loud sound. So loud sound and silence both are the opposite of each other, and these two opposites are used in the same sentence. That's why this sentence has paradox. So now understand, I think you have understood this thing. What is paradox? When two opposite ideas or things are used in a sentence, that then it is paradox. Now, where paradox has been used in this poem? We can see the example. Paradox has been used in the poem in the line, but oh for the touch, oh for the touch, but oh for the touch of a vanished hand. Touch of a vanished hand. This line has paradox. Another example from the poem is, and the sound of a voice and a sound of a voice that is still. That is still. Still means silence and sound. You know what is the meaning of sound? So sound and still both are used in this sentence, and they are the opposite of each other. First sentence also, touch and vanish means disappeared. So touch and vanish, you can say that these are the opposite of each other and they are used in a same sentence. That's why these two lines have paradox. So I hope you understood this thing. Now alliteration and repetition also used in this poem. And where it is used, I will tell you. Alliteration, repetition. Where it is used, break, break, break. In this line, both the poetic devices are used. Break, break, break. Students, when I explained the poem, I remember I have explained both the poetic devices, alliteration and repetition. But again, I am explaining in that quick way. Alliteration is just the repetition of sound. So B sound, break, break, break. This is being repeated twice in a sentence. That's why it is alliteration. And what is repetition? When a word or a phrase in a sentence is being repeated twice or thrice, then it is repetition. So it is being repeated twice in the sentence. That's why break, 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 it is repetition. I hope you understood this thing. One more poetic device the poet has used, and that is personification. It is also personification. I have also explained this poetic device, personification, in my last classes of explanation of the poem of I Remember. So what is personification? Personification is that when human qualities are transferred to some non-human object, idea or thing, then it is personification. I'll tell you how. Which lines of the poem have that personification? But the tender grace of a day. But a tender grace of a day, that is dead. So dead. So we are using dead here, and it is just the human qualities. So but a tender grace of a day, non-living, that idea or thing. So dead and day. So that's why it is personification. What is personification? When non-living ideas or non-living thing, non-living object, that living object is that what is that? But a tender grace of a day, that is human qualities are transferred to some non-living idea and non-living object or thing, then it is personification. Another line is that at the foot of thy crags. At the foot of thy crags. At the foot of thy crags, O sea. O sea. Now foot and sea. So these things are used in the sentence. That's why it is personification. Foot, and it's just the human, that it's the object of human quality, foot and sea. Okay, so that's why it's clear that when human qualities are transferred to some non-living idea, thing or object, then it is personification. So that's why these two lines have personification. Now let's discuss the poetic devices, that rhyming scheme of the poem. What is the rhyming scheme? If we see, students, the last word of first stanza, that break, break, break. So last word of the first four lines, break, and see, third one, utter, and the fourth one, me. So you know this thing, we have discussed this also, that we start the rhyming scheme from alphabet A. So break, A, C is not being rhymed with break, that's why we are giving different alphabet. B, utter is rhyming with break, no. C, no, that's why we are giving it C. Now me is rhyming with C. Me is rhyming with C, that's why we are giving this B. So what is the rhyming scheme of first 4 lines of the poem? A, B, C, B. It's clear? So rhyming scheme is A, B, C, B. One more thing that I want to explain in this poem, students, that this poem is in elegy. This poem is in the form of elegy. It is also given in the book. And what is elegy? Elegy is a poem or a song that expresses somebody's grief, somebody's pain, somebody's sadness. So this poem is in the form of elegy. I hope students you have understood all the things. If any doubt, you can contact to me. Thank you so much.